Well, I still have the tag attached, but watch this. This is the tag from the real. Once you cut it off, the bag is yours. Now it's mine. It's official. She's a keeper. Hi YouTube, Autumn Beckman here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My channel is all about luxury living on a budget, from high-end luxury handbags to the everyday luxuries of life. If that sounds interesting to you, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell notification icon to be notified when I post new videos, and be sure to like the videos that you enjoy. Today's video is going to be a bit of a history lesson, all about the Speedy Mini Sack, the Speedy Sack Mini HL, the Speedy Mini HL, the Speedy Mini. It goes by all those names, I think. I tend to call it just the Speedy Mini as an umbrella term. I spent almost a whole day researching this bag and the different versions of this bag. I found, let me count them here, see if I have a final count. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 plus. Let's say 9 plus, because there are a couple sort of extra ones that aren't official. So 9 plus different versions of the Speedy Mini, and I want to tell you all about those today, the differences between them. I had said in my previous video where I unboxed this that I would also do a size comparison with this bag and some other things, and what fits. I'm going to save that for a different video so that this one's not too long. I like to try to keep my videos around 10 minutes. We'll see how it does today. But just to give you a quick idea of how small this is, here's a mini pochette, and they're pretty similar in size, are they not? Now, of course, the Mini Speedy, or the Speedy Mini, is quite a bit wider. But as far as the height and the length, they're quite similar. So if you have an idea of how small the mini pochette is, that'll give you an idea of how small this is. This will hold a lot more though because of that width. Of all of the 9 plus versions of this bag that I found, this is the original model. It's the very first one. And I was pretty sure of that when I bought it. It was one of the reasons that I wanted this bag, because I like the original models. I also have the original model of the Delightful. Of the Neverfuls, I prefer the original model for a number of reasons, and that's not true across all Louis Vuitton bags, and I'm getting off topic here, but in this bag I really like the idea of having the very first one, the very first model. This first model was designed by Henry Louis Vuitton, so when you hear that name Speedy Mini HL, the HL is for Henry Louis, or Henri Louis Vuitton in my terrible French accent. And it was designed by him in 1978. A lot of people don't realize that the Mini Speedy is that old. I found that information in this book, and this is something that I wanted to show you guys if you want to do research on Louis Vuitton bags. So this is one of the versions of the Louis Vuitton City Bags, a Natural History book. Just really quickly on this, there have been quite a few publications of this book, or quite a few reprints of it. Mine is the 2017 version. And this book is great for research and reference and learning about Louis Vuitton bags, because it gives you a history of the bags and like what were the first bags that they designed and how did those develop into the bags that we have today. And if you look at this picture with all these different Speedies and a couple of Papillons, you can see the Mini Speedy right there. And it says in the text on one of these pages, Henry Louis Vuitton created the Mini Speedy in 1978. This bag also makes an appearance on this page right there, where it shows some different sizes of the Speedy, from the 40, 35, 30, 25, and then the Mini HL. I want to point out that the Mini Speedy that they had a photo of in that book is not this model. It's not the original, it's the next model. So the big difference, or the most obvious difference, I guess, between this model and the next model, which I'm calling the updated model, the names of the bag are actually the same, the official names. This bag you see has this one Louis Vuitton logo in the center, and then this is the updated model, and you see it has 2 LV logos, so 2 monograms. on the bag, one under each chap. So that's the immediate way to tell the difference. This original model is the only one of all the 9+ models that has that LV in the center, and it just has one of them. And it actually has two more on the edges, but they are cut off. If you're looking to buy one of these bags, the most common ones that you'll see on the market are this one, the updated version with the 2 LVs. That one is the most common. You're going to see that by far the most. But you will also see these. There are quite a few of them on the market. And you'll see the Nano Speedy, which is the one that's currently being sold. And I'll talk about some of the differences between these bags. Let me give you a little timeline as to when these 9 different bags were released, and then we'll start talking more about each individual bag and the differences between them. Okay, so like I said, the original model was released in 1978. The next model that I found a date for, and actually all of these I found dates for except the updated model with the 2 LVs. That one I have a date range, but I don't know officially when they started making that updated model. And I don't know when they stopped making this model. So the ones I have dates on, this was 1978, and the next one I see is 1988, which is the Speedy 18. This bag is 15 centimeters across. So the Speedy 18 is a little bit bigger, it's 18 centimeters across. The Speedy 18 was created specifically for the Louis Vuitton Japan 10th anniversary. What this means is Louis Vuitton opened their first store in Japan in 1978. So in 1988, that was the 10th anniversary of opening the first store. And they made the Speedy 18 specifically for that 10th anniversary. That is a very rare bag. I saw a couple of them for sale while I was doing this research. The ones that I saw were in terrible condition and quite expensive because they're so rare. Also, the ones that I saw, a couple of them anyway, had straps being sold with them, and I'm not sure if that bag originally came with a strap or if people are just adding the straps on as a package deal. But the straps that were being sold with them were very old and dry and cracked, which makes me think that maybe that bag came with a strap, but I'm not sure at all about that. Now the updated model of this bag with the 2 LVs, I don't have a date of when that was first created. I wasn't able to find that out. But what I did was I went through all of the Preloved sites that I shopped. I found every updated model of this bag. I looked at every single listing, at every single date code, and I wrote all those date codes down. So I have a range of for sure when the bags were made, but they might have started below this range. So the earliest that I found was in 1991, and those went up to 2014. I can say with certainty that they stopped making them in 2014 because there's another bag that I'll get to in a minute that they started making in 2015. So that updated model started at least in 1991, maybe earlier, went up to 2014. The original model and the updated model are the same size, but there's one difference that I found besides the 2 LVs. And that is, if you look at the end of the bag on the original model, you see how that's pretty much triangular. Look at the updated model and you'll see that that version and every other version of this bag that we'll talk about looks more like the Speedy that we're used to today, where it's a little boxier. It goes more straight up, and then at a certain point it starts coming in. But this first original model is pretty triangular, and neither of those models came with a strap. Oh, I also wanted to point out something, and one of my subscribers helped me out with this. When I unboxed this bag and I was looking over the details of it, I mentioned that there's some writing on the zipper that I'd never noticed on any of my other Louis Vuitton pieces. I also noticed that on the rivet right here, there's not an LV like there usually is. So thank you to one of my subscribers, because she explained to me that this is an eclair zipper. There was a point at which Louis Vuitton was not making their own hardware. They outsourced the zippers, and this was one of the companies that they outsourced from, Eclair. And for Louis Vuitton connoisseurs and collectors, pieces with the Eclair zipper are collector's items. I've had several people tell me after watching the unboxing video that I should have the vachetta replaced. I am very much against that, because especially now since I know that this is the original model and that it's about as old as I am, it's around 40 years old. It's all original, there's no cracking, There's no damage to the bag at all. I just need to clean it up a bit. It's really in quite excellent condition for its age, and I definitely want to keep it in that original condition. For me, replacing the vachetta would ruin the bag. All right, we got to the updated model now. Again, that started around 1991 or before. And then in 2002, Louis Vuitton collaborated with Takashi Murakami, created several pieces, and one of those was the Mini Speedy in multicolor. Came in black and white. It was the same size as the original and the updated model. Actually, it's the same size as the updated model. It's the same bag, except it's in the multicolor. Also on the rivets here, the multicolor, instead of the rounded rivets, it has these studs. And then the interior of all of the Speedies is the regular Speedy interior. It's that fabric, but on the multicolor bags, it's an Alcantara lining. The next Speedy Mini that was released was another collaboration. This one was with Comme des Garçons, which I probably butchered, but I looked up a YouTube video on how to pronounce that before I did it, so it's better than it was before I did that. That's a fashion house in Japan, and they created the Speedy Multi-Handle, which was released in 2008. This is a bag that people have a love-hate relationship with and make fun of quite a bit, and it was another Japan exclusive release, and that was for the Louis Vuitton in Japan 30th anniversary. Now remember, I told you the updated model with the two LVs was around 1991 through 2014, and I said there was a new bag released in 2015. That new bag was the Speedy Nano. That's the one that's being sold today on the Louis Vuitton, that is always sold out and impossible to find, and everybody's fighting over it. Now, all the other bags I've mentioned so far are about the same dimensions. They're 15 centimeters across, which is about 6 inches, 10 centimeters high, which is about 4 inches, and 7 centimeters deep, which is about 3 inches. The Nano is a little bit bigger. Here's a photo to show you an example of the size comparison there. The Nano is 6.3 across instead of 6 inches. It's 4.3 high instead of 4 inches, and 3.5 deep instead of 3. The Nano is also the first that has a strap attached, and it is not detachable. That strap is permanently on there. Some people like that, some people don't. It's also not adjustable. And that brings us to the current year, 2020, when 2 more Mini Speedies were released. This bag, which I am so in love with, this is the Speedy BB. It's vachetta on the outside, and on the inside it is monogram. And just to die for gorgeous. I would love to have this bag, but this is one of those collector pieces that's way out of my price range. The Speedy BB is larger. It's 6.89 inches across in length. The height is 5.51 inches and the width is 4.3 inches. And in 2020, they released a second Speedy BB. This is the League of Legends version, limited edition piece. And this is even bigger than the vachetta Speedy BB. It's 7.5 inches across, 6 inches high, and 4 inches deep. On this one, it has a detachable strap. And on the Speedy Nano, there's a little D-ring where the strap attaches. But on this Speedy BB, the League of Legends, there's a strip of vachetta just like on the Speedy bandolier bags with that D-ring. The final versions of the Mini Speedy that I have to tell you about, I actually had no idea about until a couple of subscribers told me. Some of you have heard that there was a point in time at which Louis Vuitton, for the right people and the right price, would make custom handbags. So for example, if you wanted the Speedy Mini, which has only ever been offered in monogram, if you wanted it in damier ben, you had to special order that, and some people did. It's very, 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 very rare that you find those on the Preloved market, but I did find a couple listings for them after I knew about them and was able to search specifically for that. They were listings that had already sold. I didn't see any that are currently available. And then another subscriber told me that they have one in red epi that was a special order. So there may be even more special orders out there that I didn't find. If you know of any, let us know in the comments section, please. So those are all the versions of the Speedy Mini that I found and the basic differences that I found between them. Now let's talk prices a little bit, because a lot of people have asked about that. Oh, and also I wanted to say, and I said this in my unboxing video, but just to reiterate and make sure it's in this video. By the way, I have this, it came with a musty smell because it's an old bag and it's probably been sitting in someone's closet for a while, so that kind of musty smell is very normal. But I had this stuffed with some little charcoal packs that I got from Amazon. I'll link those below. Oh, and in the thumbnail, I had this little tassel on the bag and this vachetta strap. I will link those below as well. Those are both from the Nelly Z store on Etsy. A lot of people were asking about that. So this original model is the only one of all the models that I mentioned that does not have a date code, and that's because it was pre-date code. Louis Vuitton started doing date codes. I got conflicting information online. I found one place that said they started doing date codes in 1982, but every other source that I saw said it was early to mid 80s. So I don't know if that 1982 is accurate or not. But this bag has this tag in there that says Louis Vuitton made in France. It's a cloth tag like you'd find on your clothes. So that's another difference between this model and the other models. Now, I was not able to find the original retail price for this bag from 78 and the early 80s. I have no idea what it cost. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention this. I heard from two sources that this bag was designed by Henry Louis Vuitton for children. I know a lot of people buy it for their daughters, for example, now, and it was designed for that originally, to hold children's toys and crayons and such, but I have no idea what it cost. A subscriber told me that she has an updated model that she bought brand new around 1994-95, and that was $200. So it gives you an idea of how much things have changed. $200 in 94-95, now the Nano is $1,100. Big difference. But let me give you an idea of the two vintage bags, the original and the updated model versus the Nano on the Preloved market, what that pricing looks like, so you'd have an idea of when you find a bargain what that looks like. The Nano is, like I said, about $1,100, a little more than that at Louis Vuitton right now, but it's almost impossible to find it in stock, so your chances are much better of finding it on the Preloved market. However, it tends to be quite above retail. Fashionphile, who's notorious for pricing things really high when they're in high demand, like ridiculously high. I saw the Nano Speedies there, the most expensive ones, for over $2,000, so 100% markup. Insane. The original model, because it's older and the condition tends to be a little worse, and the vachetta pull tab on the zipper is often missing, and often the vachetta is dry, it may be cracking, there may be wear on the vachetta piping. Even with all that, these tend to start on the Preloved market around $700 and go up from there. I've seen them as high as about $1,400. That's for the original model and the updated model with the two LVs. I got this one on the RealReal. They had it listed, I think it was $575, but it was 20% off, and that took it down to $460. And then with tax and shipping, I ended up paying all in $510. And considering that I don't have cracking and dryness and that everything is there, all the pieces are there, it just needs cleaning, it's in great shape otherwise, I thought that was a really good deal. This is a popular item right now, so prices are higher than they were a few years ago. I've had several subscribers tell me that they bought these a few years ago for $100, $200, $300. It's going to be hard to find them in that price range these days. If you know of anything else that I forgot to mention about the Speedy Mini line, or if I said anything that you think is incorrect, please let us all know in the comments section so we can continue to learn from each other. And like I said, in my next video on this bag, I will do a what fits, and I'll do size comparisons between this bag and other items. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot like I did in this little journey. I'll see you back here next time. I hope that you and your loved ones are doing very well and that you all have a fantastic day. Bye.